And hello YouTube, this is GS Man Smart, and I'm today on a brand new video for Gaming with GS, and today we're here on Guild Wars 2, and I want to share with you 8 useful consumable items that you can get from around Tyria that you may not know about, but tend to be very useful. Now, if you know about the little karma merchants that we have in every little zone, and all the hearts, you can usually buy things from heart vendors after you complete the heart. This is where you can get a lot of these items from. And most of the times, including myself, we really don't really care what the karma vendors have to sell or what the heart vendors have to sell, because they're usually things that are either equipment that's not useful, or they're things that are just completely random like a rock and you can't really do anything with it. However, there are some events that if you complete certain events, you can get some really useful items, or if you complete certain hearts, there are some really useful items as well. So pay attention to merchants in the areas you go to, because they may have some pretty useful items. So today I'm going to show you 8 items that I found really useful from these merchants that you can use. I'll show you how to get them, where to get them, and how you can use these in certain situations. I already have the items gathered, so I'm going to show you how to use them, but you should see relevant background footage as we go over each item to see how you can get it, and I'll definitely go over each of these. So the first one is the Ash Legion Spy Kit, and it basically grants you 10 seconds of stealth and has a 60-second cooldown. Some of these items do work in dungeons, so they can be used for dungeons and fractals, which makes it really cool. Well, you can buy a Ash Legion Spy Kit. It can be purchased from a karma vendor in the plains of Ashford, and if you buy that, you can actually get 10 seconds of stealth. Now, the only problem is you can't move around with it. So you basically have to stay still, but it's a great item to use if you're communing to certain hero points in any map and you don't want to be hit by them. This is a great item to use because it camouflages you, enemies won't see where you are, and you basically be invisible. So here, for example, we're at a commune point. You see we have one of these guys attacking us. If we use our Ash Legion Spy Kit right here, we double click it, we use our 1 key to camouflage. He actually won't see us, and we can continue to commune to this place. He won't attack us, and we're basically camouflaged. And as you see, he doesn't even notice. He doesn't even notice us. And there you go. We got it, and now he's attacking us again because it's only for 10 seconds. So there's a great example where you can use it. I'm sure there are other ways you could use this as well, but this is just the first idea that popped in my head. Hey, this is great for commuting to certain hero points where you get attacked by people. Now this next one is, I think it's Harpy Feathers. Yeah. Harpy Feathers, these are actually really good, especially if you're not a thief. You know how thieves have basically a bunch of invisible skills, they can make you invisible. Well, if you don't have an invisible skill and you really want to have an invisible skill because it's something that you find very useful a lot of times, well, you can buy Harpy Feathers and they can turn you invisible for 3 seconds. There's also no cooldown, so you can continue to use these over and over since there's no cooldown on them. You can buy a ton of these and you can get stealth for 3 seconds. These also work in dungeons and fractals, so it's actually really great if you're soloing dungeons and you want to skip stuff and you want to turn invisible. You can definitely use these. In fact, if you don't have a thief in your group, if everyone has Harpy Feathers, then you could actually run some dungeons with just Harpy Feathers. Now, the way you get these is you have to go to the Harathi hinterlands, and there's going to be a person named Forger Hit Kill or something like that. It's basically a script. It's in the north side of the map, and there's an event where you have to basically protect the script thieves from stealing the harpy eggs. And after that event completes, it's right in front of a bridge. After that event completes, you're basically going to be able to buy these Harpy Feathers from the vendor. And if you don't see the event happening, just wait there. It's on a 15 to 20 minute respawn time, so you may have to wait for it, but you can buy a bunch of these and you can grant yourself 3 seconds of stealth. So for example here, you see how we have, well, what's a good example to show you? You see how normally if we pass by this guy, he would attack us? And if we pass by the other guys as well, they would attack us? Well, I can just go ahead and get my Harpy Feathers. And he needs to stop. Well, let's just go grab our Harpy Feathers and turn ourselves invisible. And look at that. We can run around. And we can continue to use another one. And we're basically invisible. If I go up to this guy and use a Harpy Feather right then and there. You see that? How he goes away? Really neat little item. Like, a lot of these items you'd think are never in the game, but if you actually look around and watch for these items and watch for vendors, you can actually see how a lot of these items can be very useful. And 3 seconds is a long time. I mean, you can get a teleport off as well. Skills don't activate it either, so you could basically teleport past something while you're invisible with one of your teleport skills if you have some. Now the next item I want to go over is the Effigy Fragment, which is basically a torch, and this is basically a great way to give yourself a light source. I'm probably not in a very good spot to show you an example of this. The best way I can show you, the best thing I can think of is the jumping puzzle in Lion's Arch, where you're in that dark room and you have to basically get across the other side of the room. In Lion's Arch, the pirate jumping puzzle, and you need to have a torch. Well, if you just have effigy fragments here, you can double click these, and it's actually a source of light. Now, if you do use your 1 and 2 skills, it does go away like that. As you see, the torch goes away. So don't use your 1 and 2 skills. But if you're ever in a dark area and you want to have some light, well, Effigy Fragment here basically gives you a free light source. You don't need to have a torch equipped, and you can just have a torch like that, and you can have light basically forever. There's no cooldown. You can have it as long as you want, and if you use your skill, you can always have more. You can use another one. Now the only problem with this is that it does not work in dungeons. So while the other 2 previous items that I talked about worked in dungeons, this one does not work in dungeons. However, you can buy this in the same area here in Fireheart Rise. If you talk to Gracian the Dauntless, he does sell it for a silver. Now, there is an event associated with this. If you don't see him near the area where I'm at right now, then you'll have to do the event and kill the effigies. And once you've killed all the effigies, he'll become a merchant. And when he's a merchant, you can then buy the item. Now this next one here is the experimental rifle. It's actually a very useful one. A lot of people tend to have this item because it's just so useful in a lot of situations. If you're doing jumping puzzles, or if you're trying to get to a vista that's annoying to get to and you just don't want to put the effort to try and get to it, you can go ahead and get this one from Malcor's Leap. It's from Agent Lavilla. Now if you don't see her in the area, once again, you'll need to complete 2 events, which is destroying the chicken coop, and then you have to fight the inquest person there, and after those 2 events you can then talk to her and you can buy the experimental rifle. But essentially what this item does, it gives you a gun, and the reason why this rifle is so good is for the number 2 skill. Now say for a lot of new beginner players, they always have trouble getting to this vista. I don't know why. It isn't too difficult, but essentially you can use your 2 skill and you can select a location like so, and it brings you to the top. Now you do need to be careful. If there has to be no collision. If there's collision above you, it won't work. Now there is a cooldown here, but the important thing is to make sure there's no collision, because if there's collision, then you're basically just gonna hit the thing that's on top of you and it won't work. So if there's no collision above you, then you can definitely make jumps like this. But here I can use it again to get on top of here like that, and as you can see, now we could get the vista. So obviously something like this is pretty simple, but if you were at a jumping puzzle, you could definitely use this. And let's go ahead and move on to the next item, which is very similar, which is the experimental teleportation gun. Now it's also worth noting that this item and the last item we just looked at are both not available to use in dungeons, but this next item you can buy in Timberline Falls. You can buy it from Danka. There is no event required for this. It's just a merchant. You can buy it whenever you get to the area. She should be there. And this is basically just a free teleport. You can go ahead and use your 1 skill, and as you can see, it teleports you. It's great for making long jumps. Also very useful in jumping puzzles between large gaps. If you're afraid you can't make a jump and you feel like you can't make the jump with swiftness, this is a great one to use if you need to. Now the next one we have here is a Grawl Ritual Totem, and I just thought this one was really cool because I don't have any fears on my Elementalist, and fear is always such a cool condition for me. I like using fear. But if you don't have fear on your class, you can actually buy these, and it's basically a free fear skill. Now the way you get this item, you have to go to Blaze Ridge Steps and talk to Explorer Kindle Blight. If he's not in the area near that waypoint, he's probably doing the event near the Grawl. And if you go do the Grawl events there, where you have to disrupt the summoning ritual, then you can unlock the vendor and he'll go back to the location. You can talk to him and you can then buy this item. But this is really great if you're in a situation where you don't want to fight people or there's a lot of people attacking you, like for example right here where there's a ton of these guys. Let's just round them all up and watch the power of this. Use our 1 skill and everyone gets feared away. And I just like it. It's a cool, fun little skill to use. It's probably not as useful as other ones, but I think it's just really fun to use. And if you need a fear, then that's a great fear item. Now, it's also worth noting that the last item you cannot use in dungeons, so you cannot use that fear item in dungeons. However, you can use this next item in dungeons, which is the medical pack. And the medical pack, as you can see here, is a red little box. And the reason why this is such a cool item is, yes, it does give you a heal. As you see, the one skill is a heal. You can drop a pack of bandages, but it's really not that big of a heal. In like lower level areas, it's maybe like a 5% heal, maybe even less than that. I was in Snowden Drifts and it gave me like an 81 or a 91 heal. But the reason why it's really good is because, look at this, it gives you swiftness and fury. This is why I think this item is really cool. You get 10 seconds of critical chance increase and 10 seconds of swiftness. If you don't have a class, or if you don't have people that have swiftness skills, or if you don't have any swiftness skills usually, or if you don't have any fury skills, this is a great item to use, because if you drop it and you go over it, you can give everyone swiftness and fury. Now, I think you have to drop several of these because only you can use it. So if everyone gets one of these items, then you could use it. It's a neat little thing to use in PVE if you're running a class that doesn't give fury, or if you're running a class that doesn't give swiftness, or you're just a low level, you haven't unlocked those skills yet. Great item to use, and you can just, there's no cooldown. Well, there's a cooldown, but you can use it as many times as you want. If you're traveling long distances, you can stack swiftness with this right here, and it's every 10 seconds, so you'll just have to wait 8 seconds to use it again. Now, to get this item, you will need to go to Snowden Drifts. There's going to be a vendor in the northeast corner of the map, and it's a karma vendor, and you can basically buy that from him. Once again, it's a heart vendor, so you need to finish the heart before you can buy any of his merchandise. Now, this next one I want to go over is the Fire Elemental Powder, and I already summoned it right here because I kind of messed up, but you can basically summon 3 Fire Elementals here, if you're an Elementalist, obviously. We have 3 Fire Elements here, which is really cool. This is mainly why I picked this item. All you gotta do is double click this item right here, and you'll basically get another Fire Elemental. There's a 30-minute cooldown on it, and the Fire Pet only lasts for 5 minutes, but it does work in dungeons, so if you need extra burning damage or want extra damage, it's really cool, and who doesn't want to have 3 Fire Elemental birds running after them? I think this was really cool, and that's kind of why I picked it. Now, there's another item that you can summon a random ranger pet. I think it's the Ogre Whistle. And if you have the Ogre Whistle as well, you can summon another pet for you. You can have 4 pets if you're an Elementalist following you and helping you fight. And I just think it's really cool. This one is also fairly easy to get. Here you can see all 3 of them attack. There we go. Pretty cool. I thought it was really awesome. I love summoning my little pets. I always liked the Summoner class and the Beastmaster class in the Final Fantasy games that were online. So I really just like these items a lot. But I definitely recommend you to look at the Ogre Whistle. I didn't bother adding the item because we already have a summon item. I didn't want to make the video too long. But there's an Ogre Whistle you can get as well. And you can basically summon, if you don't have any pets, you can summon a Fire Elemental and you can summon a random Ranger pet. And then you have 2 people following you and helping you for 5 minutes. Sucky thing is it on a 30-minute cooldown? I don't know why I did that. It would have been cool if you could just have a permanent pet following you around. But I guess that would be too OP maybe. But that's basically the last item there. But the way you get this item, you have to go to Fireheart Rise again, and you will need to complete events for this. Once again, if the vendor is available, then you will be able to buy it from him. I think his name is Jails. If he's not at the location that you see on screen, then you'll have to look around and see if the Tar Elemental event is in progress, or if the protect event. I think you have to protect 2 people while they repair something. If one of those 2 events is in progress, then you need to complete those events and wait till the merchants become available. After the event completes, they'll become vendors, and then you can buy basically the item, and you can summon your Fire Elemental. And that's pretty much it. Those are pretty much all the items that I kind of wanted to go over today. I thought they were really cool, and I thought it would be neat to share them all, especially since, you know, I know there are a lot of players who don't really pay too much attention to the vendors, because let's be honest, a lot of the vendors do sell stuff that isn't really useful. I mean, this vendor right here, this is a random vendor. What do you sell? I mean, this right here. Most people wouldn't really buy this, especially if you're not running a condition damage build. So, I mean, I can understand why a lot of people would ignore a lot of these vendors, because you know, they're not really useful things, but there are some pretty useful things in the game from vendors, and I just thought I'd point them out and share them with you. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you have any other items that are really useful that you use or that you found, definitely leave in the comment section below and share them, so that other people can, you know, see them and pick them up if they want to pick them up. So definitely leave a comment down below. Any questions or confusions about how to get these items, you can leave a question down below as well, and I'll definitely explain further if you need further explanation on how to get some of these items. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, you can go and subscribe. Plenty of other Guild Wars 2 content on our channel, plenty of guides and neat little videos like these as well. And if you like this video, you can always donate $8 to my Patreon page. Anything as low as that is always very helpful and much appreciated. All you gotta do is click the card in the top right hand corner of the screen, and it'll bring you to the page. I also have a tutorials channel, vlogging channel, advice channel, and music channel. You want to check those out, links in the description as well as on the end card. That's pretty much this video. Thank you for watching as always, and this is GS Now Smart, and I'll be back sooner than you think. Don't go anywhere.